In this endeavor, we will delve into the customs and rituals of medieval weddings, uncovering the harsh realities of arranged marriages, the role of the church, and the complexities of love and marriage during this era. Marriages were often strategic alliances for power and wealth, arranged without love or personal choice. The importance of social rank, compatibility, and familial approval were key considerations, even among common people. We will delve into the significance of dowries and bride prices, as well as the various forms of love that existed during the Middle Ages, such as courtly love and pragmatic love. Medieval wedding ceremonies were grand spectacles filled with traditions, vows, and community involvement, followed by banquets and entertainment. Overall, we will explore the expectations, obligations, and realities of marriage in medieval society, showcasing the complexities and nuances of love and marriage during this time. A tapestry of promises. The intricacies of engagement. In the Middle Ages, marriages were often arranged for power and wealth rather than love. The marital bed became a stage for bloody tests of the bride's purity. Privacy was a luxury few could afford, especially on the wedding night. The concept of marriage was far from the notions of romance and individual choice we have today. It was a meticulous process filled with negotiations, contracts, and family strategies. Marriages served as strategic alliances to consolidate power, land, and wealth. The primary purpose of marriage was not the happiness of the couple, but the production of offspring. Social rank played a crucial role, and marriages between similar ranks were common. Even in the lower classes, compatibility, shared professions, and family approval were key considerations. The Middle Ages lacked grand romantic gestures, but anecdotes from medieval manuscripts tell stories of childhood betrothals that grew into strong, affectionate relationships. Precious promises. The role and meaning of the dowry and bride price. In the Middle Ages, the dowry and bride price played a crucial role in medieval marriages. These payments represented honor, status, and even survival in a harsh medieval world. For example, the marriage of Eleanor of Aquitaine and its annulment highlight the political maneuvering and conflicts that arose around the return of a substantial dowry. Common people negotiated dowries through the Domesday Book, while in Eastern Europe, the tradition of Kalim and Munda reflected cultural and symbolic values in bride prices. The controversial aspect of monetary transactions in marriage is highlighted by the moral dilemma presented by the philosopher Thomas Aquinas. The importance of the dowry and bride price extended beyond economic exchange. It influenced the social structures, norms, and power dynamics of the time. Dances of devotion. The evolution of courtship and love in the Middle Ages. Love in the form of courtly love, characterized by a feudal relationship between a knight and a noble lady, often existed outside of marriage and was expressed through great deeds and devotion. This concept is exemplified in the tragic story of Tristan and Isolde, where their forbidden yet passionate love becomes a testament to the indomitable spirit of the heart. There was also a more pragmatic form of love among common people, based on personal compatibility, shared work, and mutual respect. Marriage in the medieval period also underwent changes, with the Church emphasizing the importance of mutual consent. This shift led to narratives of individuals overcoming obstacles to be with their chosen partners, highlighting a dramatic shift in social perspectives on love and marriage. Youthful commitments and matrimonial maturity. A look at marital ages in the Middle Ages. Certainly, marriage was a significant institution in medieval society, along with the influence of the Church on marital unions. Marriage played a crucial role in the security and future of the Plantagenet dynasty, and noble couples often married at a younger age compared to common people. Age disparity between couples was also common, with men usually being older than their brides. The Church had the power to regulate marriages and declared marriage a sacred sacrament while participating in and regulating the prohibition of marriages between close relatives and mutual consent. However, despite the Church's regulations, many common people still celebrated clandestine marriages, which were considered valid as long as both parties expressed their consent. Vows and veils. The artistry of medieval wedding ceremonies. There were certain complexities in medieval wedding ceremonies, such as the intricate interaction between the authority of the Church and popular practices. These ceremonies were not just private events, but social spectacles full of pomp and solemnity. The exchange of vows and the placement of veils were meticulously choreographed, creating a living tableau of customs and traditions. Ceremonies took place in grand cathedrals where the newlyweds publicly declared their intention to marry and exchanged legally binding vows. The exchange of rings was another significant ritual, often accompanied by curious customs like placing the ring on the bride's thumb before placing it on the ring finger. Weddings also involved the community, with practices like timulating in regions like Yorkshire, where the wedding procession went to the bride's house and scattered flower petals on her bed, symbolizing fertility and prosperity. Banquets and celebrations followed the solemn church rituals, showcasing the wealth and social status of the families involved. These grand feasts were not just gastronomic pleasures, but also theatrical performances, with elaborate dishes and musical accompaniment. Medieval weddings were a blend of tradition, joy, and community involvement, creating a magical celebration that showcased the splendor of the era. A banquet of love, feasts and festivities of medieval nuptials. Various forms of entertainment were part of medieval wedding celebrations. Jesters and troubadours filled grand halls with laughter and applause, while tournaments and games entertained the guests. Processions were also a common feature, with streets lined with enthusiastic onlookers as the newlyweds paraded through the town. Once the marriage was celebrated, the responsibilities expected from both the husband and wife in a medieval marriage were established, highlighting the social and ecclesiastical norms that dictated their behavior. The man was considered the head of the family, responsible for protecting and providing for his wife and children, while the wife was responsible for managing the household and raising the children. Mutual respect and fidelity in the marital relationship were regarded as fundamental values, with violations of these duties considered grave offenses. When day met night, the unspoken dance of medieval wedding nights. The wedding night in medieval Europe held special significance. It marked the beginning of a new chapter for newlywed couples. This intimate moment, filled with cultural norms and social expectations, played a crucial role in solidifying the marital union. The consummation night was often accompanied by a festive procession of wedding guests aimed at relieving tension and turning the intense moment into a joyful celebration. There were legal implications to the wedding night, as the act of consummation helped safeguard the marital bond against future challenges. The church also had a strong influence on the perception of marital courtship, emphasizing procreation as its primary purpose. However, marital courtship was not devoid of tenderness and affection. Attitudes toward marital courtship varied by social class. The nobility often engaged in more reserved relationships for political alliances, while common people experienced a more affectionate dynamic. Unraveling the knot, the maze of medieval separations. While divorce was not a common option, legal separation was occasionally granted for reasons such as cruelty or abandonment. However, even this was not easily achieved, as there were strict rules and exceptions. Marriage in the medieval era was often seen as a strategic game, where alliances and power dynamics were at stake. The example of Isabella of Angoulême and King John of England illustrates this, as their union was a political move to strengthen control over disputed lands. Similarly, the marriage between Isabella of Bourbon of Castile and Ferdinand the Second of Aragon united their realms and laid the foundation for a powerful empire. Marriage was also a means of social ascent, as seen in the marriage between Alice de la Pole and Thomas Chaucer, which blended trade and nobility. Interestingly, women occasionally had agency in this game, as seen in the case of Eleanor of Aquitaine, who quickly remarried and changed the balance of power in Europe. Overall, marital customs of the medieval era were influenced by power, alliances, and the desire to have heirs. Nuptial power games, the chessboard of medieval marriage. Medieval marriages carried great expectations and obligations, particularly among the nobility and wealthy merchants. There was immense pressure to produce heirs due to the importance placed on children as symbols of prosperity and continuity. The stories of King Henry II of England and Queen Eleanor of Aquitaine, as well as other couples, demonstrate the tension between family ties and political ambition. While some marriages faced struggles and sorrow, others, like the prosperous merchant Jacques de Châtillon and his wife Marie, were able to establish a lineage that contributed to the wealth and influence of their city. There was undoubtedly a clear division between classes in medieval society and how it influenced experiences of love, life, and lineage. Royal and noble marriages had political motivations, while commoners' unions often had roots in shared work and economic viability. Woven silks and rough hides, the tapestry of medieval marriage across classes. Royal and noble wives, such as Queen Isabella of France, engaged in court intrigues, managed vast estates, diplomatic relationships, and complex networks of influence, all of which were crucial for maintaining their families' power and prestige. On the other hand, peasant women like Joan of Kent shared the laborious work of farming with their husbands while caring for their homes and children. We'll cite the curious case of a wealthy merchant named Serlo, who, despite being a commoner, amassed considerable wealth through trade, eventually leading to his son's marriage to a noblewoman, blurring the lines between nobility and wealthy commoners. To conclude our journey through the complexities of medieval marriage, we highlight and remember that love, courtship, and marriage, regardless of the time or place, are filled with joys and trials, heartbreaks and political victories, and the depth of human connections.